Hey guys, what's up? This is Arden here with episode 2 of Foresight Daily. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, follow us on social media at Foresight Pod. Thank you for your constant support and appreciation, especially with episode 1. That was wavy, but we're back at it. Episode 2, April Fools, but we're not joking around here. For today's episode, our first guest, this is a man that regardless if you're a reader or a fan or even just a media member when it comes to hip-hop media, you definitely have seen this man's work, especially with what he's been doing now as Billboard's hip-hop editor. You have seen him speak with the likes of DJ Khaled, Meek Mill, Royce the 5'9", the Migos, and much more. You have seen him report on a lot of different situations in music, such as Megan Thee Stallion's contract situation. And this is somebody whose work I truly enjoy and respect. We got Billboard's hip-hop editor, Lamarre, in the building. What's going on, man?
Arden, how you feeling, man? Thank you for having me.
No problem. I'm feeling good, feeling better. We're here with it. We're dealing with it. Like we just talked about before the show, been finding ways to cook up, getting back into that normal routine. And it will lead us into this first question because this is something that I've been speaking with a lot with my fellow creators out there, regardless of what they've been doing. Did you ever have that moment of pause or doubt when the severity of the coronavirus started kicking in and it started to really impact, your creative endeavors?
Maybe for like a day. I think maybe for like a day or so. I was like, okay, because with Billboard, we also have a talk show on the block.
Yeah.
So I was like, dang. So on the block, which is where we have guest hosts, celebrity guest hosts come and kick it with us. I'm like, the show is going to get canned. I'm not going to be able to do as much interviews as I, would have wanted to in the past. But then after watching Elliott Wilson and even Speedy, I saw Speedy had an interview. I want to say it was with, I forgot. But even just seeing Elliott being able to FaceTime certain artists, I was like, wait a minute. I have the same leverage as some of these cats.
Yeah.
I got an iPhone, The beauty of technology has allowed us to be able to still be effective and creative. And, I've been able to still do some interviews, fortunately, via FaceTime. Still reach out to people the way I would have if I was in the office. So, yeah, I had an ounce it down for a split second, but I was able to wake back up and be like, you know what, let's get it cracking.
Yeah, and I think that's like the beauty of it. I'm one of those people that, some folks can find annoying or not. Oh, you always find a positive in everything. But it's the truth. It's like it's a matter of you could tap into another side of yourself creatively that might not have existed before. And this is something I was telling, the rest of the Foresight team. We had a group FaceTime meeting, and I was like, we're never going to, barring another health situation, have this many people at home waiting to consume content. Like, folks are literally waiting to consume. This is not, let me check it out on the go because I'm on my way to work or I'm on lunch break. This is like, folks are like, I'm bored. Like, what's next on the docket here? So I'm like, gotta cook up. You gotta cook up.
Because, so many people are at the crib, like you said. You could only binge so many shows, you can only eat so much to the point you're going to grab your phone and be like, okay, so what's on the docket today? What's on IG? And I think it's so dope. We have the artists now being creative, whether it's with the live stream battles and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I kind of look at us journalists as artists as well. I'm like, okay, so they dropped a new battle today. Listen, I'm about to drop a new interview. And how can I go about that? So, and this is where you got to, again, be creative and you got to figure out loopholes in the situation. And like I said earlier, the beauty of FaceTime, it has allowed us to just be able to get access and still communicate with our favorite artists the way we would have if we were in the office.
I 100% agree with that, man. And again, that's just making the most out of your situation. Just to take it back, what were some of your earliest writing memories? What made you put the pen to the pad and much more?
Man, so I always say this. I always envisioned myself being a sports writer. I came into the game I'm a huge basketball fan.
I see.
I always thought I would have been. Yeah. I always thought. I don't know if you peeped the little dunk contest I be doing in the crib. But,
who's your team, by the way? Who you be rolling with?
Man, I used to be a super Nets fan back in the day. I used to be a huge New Jersey Nets fan, and then I came back to the Knicks. Why, I don't know.
Yeah, I question that too.
Yeah, so, I still decided to maintain that loyalty, even though Durant and Kyrie is like my favorite player over on the Nets. So, yeah, huge Knicks fan. But to go back to your question, yeah, man, I started off as a sports editor in high school. I'm from New York, so I won this award in senior year, like third place for like best sports story or whatever. So I was like, all right, boom, I'm gonna be on my Stephen A. Smith.
Nice, yeah.
I ended up going to college and go to Howard University for first 2 years.
Nice.
And when I get there, I start writing for the Howard Hilltop, doing some sports stuff. But in the meantime, I'm trying to figure out an internship. And my boy had sent me a link, and it was Vibe. And he was like, yo, check this out. I'm like, I'm a music head, but I'm more of a sports guy, but still you can't beat out experience. I end up reaching out. They hit me up weeks later. And I want to say the Friday before the internship started, they wanted me to come in for an interview. Mm-hmm. I didn't have no dress clothes. So I went to like JCPenney or something.
Mm-hmm.
Picked up an outfit, went to the interview, killed it. And I was the last and youngest person of that internship. And just that whole experience made me fall in love with music even more. And I was like, wait, I can combine journalism and music and merge them together. And I never looked back, man. It's just been a beauty, man, that I'm so grateful to be a part of.
I could relate to that too, because it's like the best of both worlds for me as well. Yeah. Even with my efforts through Foresight, I'm still an active sports writer to this day. Like I have my own website I do, and then I've been doing stuff with USA Today and SB Nation. So it was the same thing, like, oh, snap, I could put together my love for words and everything in this arena with music, because you notice as well, like, we basically been liking both the same things in sports and music really since the beginning of our livelihoods.
Yeah,
like, it's not like, it's like simultaneously, like, like the same time I was watching Space Jam was when I was probably put on to Jay-Z, like, oh, this is what it's about, like, literally the same time. And with getting now to, the forward, present day with your efforts at Billboard, what has been a big objective for you as you create, as you push out, as you really just mold Billboard's hip-hop coverage? What has been a big objective for you, especially in what is a very, oversaturated and ever-evolving time in media in general, especially in music?
I would probably say trying to provide visibility for up-and-coming artists, even like underground artists. I try to take pride in that. I try to make sure we showcase, the best talent all around, because when you hear Billboard, you obviously think of the Hot 100.
Yeah,
you think of the mainstream acts, and that's good and all. I mean, I love celebrating the big stars, but it's also trying to highlight the up-and-comers, the ones that can become those big stars. And even like I said, I'm a firm lover of the underground. Joe Budden, before Joe became Media Joe, like Joe was my favorite rapper, so I always have an affinity for the underground cast. You mentioned Royce. I mean, I love what Griselda's doing. I mean, they're not even underground no more. I mean, the sound is, but they're blowing up.
Mainstream Griselda, crazy to say.
Yeah, man. And, like a joy that I had, I would want to say was maybe last year when I was in college, going back to Howard. I used to be a huge Little Brother fan. Shout out to Fonte and Pooh, man. Yeah, those were my guys, man. And last year, I was able to interview them in the office, and that just brought so much nostalgia.
Yes, you did that too. Another good joint of yours.
Thank you, man. And it's being able to capture those kind of moments with those kind of artists, those legacy artists too. Mm-hmm. That is so vital and important to me as far as like coverage for Billboard hip hop.
Yeah, and that's funny that you said that as well, because it's even with Little Brother, even with Griselda, it's I guess it's great, but at the same time, it's also still more funny than ever to see now, like, these folks that we looked at and go, oh man, you wouldn't know about this. Like, this would really get accepted by the masses, and the masses are accepting them. Like, just Friday night, when Boy Wonder and Hit Boy going at it, and of course, the new unreleased records are being played between Drake, Nipsey, and Sean. Somebody out there ends up leaking a snippet of the upcoming Drake and Benny the Butcher record. And I'm like, this is still insane to me that, like, of course with Drake you get it, and I'm a big Benny fan, but Benny's now gonna get that same, you know, anticipation and hype, and he was getting that off his own joints too. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah. You know what's so crazy? You bring up Benny, man. I have been such a fan of his trajectory, man. Like, I have been carefully watching from like Tana Talk up until now. I've been watching his moves. I'm like, yo, he went on tour opening up for Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah.
He did his own tour to the point now he was supposed to open up for Russ.
Yeah.
You know, and then the Drake shout out on the Rap Radar interview, man. Like, these guys have just been bubbling and putting Buffalo on the map, and it's well deserved, man. These guys, they bust their ass on the regular, man, and they got that whole rap scene on lock, that hoodie rap scene on lock. So
couple of questions I got for you before we wrap up. First things first, are you getting IG lived out yet after the crazy amounts that's been happening, or you just need that? You need that content. What's up?
Man, the content has been so dope, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I tuned in for the Dream and Sean Garrett.
Yeah.
I was watching it the whole time, man. It was entertaining. It was hilarious. I mean, shout out to Sean. I personally feel like he took that. He was getting washed in the beginning.
Yeah.
Pulled the 3-1. Pulled the 3-1 on Dream. Came back. I thought Jonta and Neo was so dope, man, especially for Jonta, man. Jonta, man, his pen is so lethal, and I'm glad, like, the mainstream masses, again, with everybody being in the crib, you know, we were able to produce a live stream that's also bringing awareness to artists or songwriters or producers that we may have not know about prior to this quarantine, man. And Jonta is one of those legends, man, that we were able to really appreciate during, you know, that battle. Like, oh shit, I didn't know he did Can't Help But Wait, Trey. I didn't realize all the Aaliyah joints he knocked out. And
things they got in the tuck is crazy.
Yeah, man. And I'm not gonna say he washed Neo, but I mean, he had him staggering a little bit, you know. So I definitely, I'm a huge fan of that, man. And I know I spoke to Jeezy the other day on FaceTime talking about the battles. He wants to get into it, try to do a little tag team song clash, him and Tip. So yeah, so whoever's out there, y'all want to do a little tag team battle, man, battle of the trap, you know. Tip and Jeezy, they ready, man. Yeah.
I would take Jeezy in a lot of battles, even on his dolo. But with Tip,
man,
I usually don't bet some bread, but I might bet some bread.
Listen, I was trying to sell it like a Jeezy versus Tip battle of the trap, but he's like, nah, I want to do a tag team. So I was like, yo, it would be dope to see somebody like maybe like Ross and Chainz, or like Future and Chainz, or Future and Gucci, or like some kind of tag team to go against Jeezy and Tip, because you got a catalog. Yeah. Gotta have the catalog to go against those guys.
Jesus Christ. The last question I got for you. What have been some of your records that you've been playing lately? What have been some of your favorite records lately?
You know what's crazy? Do you want new, or you want like just in general?
Whatever's a part of your rotation. What's up?
Man, I've been bumping that Lil Baby album hard. That My Turn album's so fire. Like, his growth is really, lyrically, has really surprised me. I've still been bumping that Eternal Take. Uzi, of course. Man, prior to you calling, and even just last night, man, I've been playing some throwback Lupe, man.
Yeah, man.
Playing some mixtape Lupe, like Fahrenheit 115.
That's the different mood you get in when you listen to throwback Lupe.
Yeah, man, like Lupe used to be one of my favorites. I'm not saying he's not now. Like, Lupe's still a legend to me, but mixtape Lupe was just different, man. And I was playing some throwback Fab too. So that's the thing. With the beautiful thing about this quarantine, man, is making me go back. It's making me dig a little bit, go back in the archives, and I've been really appreciating, you know, some of these guys' discography, man. Not like I used to before. I used to bump on the train, but now it's different when you have big boy speakers out, you in the crib all day, you blasted. So yeah, that's what I've been bumping, man.
And, you know, before we wrap up, I always found that during quiet times like this, where you're able to just enjoy the music and really get back, it allows you to like study more in a way.
Yeah.
Because so much of music, and it was talked about quite a bit when reports are coming out that music streaming numbers were declining for like another week, because people are listening to music in transit. They're listening to it on the go. You know,
Yeah.
music basically becomes background noise. And it's
Mm-hmm.
different when you're able to really live with the music, when you're
Yeah.
catching the bars, when you catching who wrote this or the different set of whatever production is in a part of it. So I've been in that bag as well, just going back to some joint, and I'm like, yo, this is insane.
Like what?
Crazy. Man, throwbacks for me, honestly, like I get in my Nelly bag from time to time. Like,
hey, Nelly's catalog is serious, man.
Yeah, I get back to Nelly. I get back to mid 2000 Swiss. You know what I'm saying? Like I get into that production. I was just listening to Lil Wayne's No Ceilings. Like that came out when I was like a sophomore in high school.
Bruh, it's funny you say that because I was just
TV.
I was just playing the Throw It in the Bag remix, the Wheezy version on No Ceilings yesterday, man. Like, Jesus.
Yeah,
that was a different kind of cat.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And of course, with the new music, shout out to my guy, Giveon, man.
I got to check that, man. Like, people been hitting me, like, about that tape,
Heartbreak
man.
Anniversary. You're welcome.
I'm going to check it after this. Yeah, I'm going to check that EP out.
Same thing with you, Uzi. That's been going crazy for me. Jessie Reyes, I've been going through her.
That was tough.
Debut album. What else I got in the tuck? Freaking Fabio, huge Fabio fan. So Weddy.
Fabio coming with that heat, that Weddy.
Jordan
Lucas, man. That album's tough too. Jordan Lucas's debut album. It was tough.
And
you like the Party album?
Yeah, I do.
I gotta bump it again, man. I only like
Savage Anthem's the greatest R&B record of all time.
You said what?
I said Savage Anthem's the greatest R&B record of all time.
That was a cheat code, man. I'm not gonna knock him for bringing back Kehlani like 6 years later. Like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna put in this work, but I love and adore Party, man. Like P1 is a classic to me, classic. So that's why when I heard the Party mobile album, I was like, I don't know if it got that same edge, but I'm gonna bring it back. We'll bring it back.
And Brent's project, to cap it off, has been a part of my rotation.
Yo, it's so crazy to me. I mean, I hear it when he sings, but it's like the dude originally started as a rapper, bro.
Yeah.
He started as a rapper, and he's like, and the way he sings, like now, I'm like, yo, this dude, you wouldn't have thought he was a rapper before because his vocals as an R&B dude are so freaking crazy. Like Clouded is my shit on that project.
Lost Kids Get the Money, Bluffing,
yeah,
Skyline.
Yeah,
that's big
Brent's
time.
A bad boy. Brent's a bad boy.
Carl, thank you so much, man, for coming on to the show. Seriously, man, we really appreciate you for coming on the show, man. Really enjoyed this conversation. Please let the people know where they can find you on social media and anything that is coming up by you and Billboard.
Of course, man. And again, I want to thank you, Arden, Foresight Pod, giving me this platform, this opportunity. Y'all doing great work, man, especially you holding it down. Y'all could be on the lookout. My ItsTheReal, Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you check me out. We got some stories coming out. That Jeezy interview should be coming out this week. So we got some more stuff in the tuck, man. So definitely be on the lookout.
Thank you so much, Carl. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Arden. I appreciate you.
All right. Hey, guys. What's up? This is Arden here, continuing the second half of Foresight Daily. Thank you guys once again for tuning in and sticking around with us. As always, please follow us on social media, visit the official website, and much more. For the second half of the show, I'm really excited, man. These guys, it's funny enough, I'll tell you guys who I interviewed this morning for the first half of the show. When I told them that I was going to speak with you, they was like, oh, man, you speaking with some legends right there. Speaking with some big-time guys. And I'm like, of course, I'm more than grateful for it. And the best thing about it is that they from the crib. They from Westchester, you know, just having that connection. And ever since we had the chance to interview these guys on episode 70 of the Foresight Podcast last year in January, there was already getting big time. There was already getting better, but they've only gotten better and better. And these guys, you know, over the course of the years, checking them out, they've released the book. They've released that album. They have a really good podcast that's come on a weekly basis. They have done live shows. And now they've been doing a daily show called Quarantine Radio. I have Jeff and Eric Rosenthal from ItsTheReal. What's going on, guys?
What's happening? How are you?
I'm doing good, feeling better. Just trying
shout out to everybody in Westchester, especially right now. I think that
Westchester was really hard hit.
Having it been the epicenter, one of the epicenters of this whole thing has been super scary. And for everyone up there who's continuing to fight it, to stay safe, to stay indoors, we salute you, and one day at a time,
Absolutely, one day at a time. And it's something where there was a little bit of good news. I think Governor Cuomo said it may have been like a day or two ago in his briefing that Westchester was starting to make some progress. I mean, obviously, we're not out of the woodworks yet, but just hearing that is great. Again, like we've been saying, please, folks, continue staying inside, continue taking the best care of yourself. If you have to be out there, make sure it's for the right reasons, and please practice social distancing. Nothing more, nothing less. But just to get into it, guys, let me just say, and I'm not just saying this because you're in front of me here. I know Tory Lanez has been cooking up with the Quarantine Radio name, but you guys are the originals.
Let me That's right. Thank you.
Right
yeah.
Finally. Say that again. I'm just letting y'all know. I've seen he's cooking up with it, but I'm like, I know the originals of this. I remember seeing this pop up on my timeline first. It was you guys.
Yeah. You know what though? I think that the name is only part of it. It was our creation. We did come up with it about 8 or 9 days before him, but it's about the product. He's doing a cool product. We're doing a cool product. I think that more than the name is the heart in the phone calls, is the humor in the phone calls, and the fact that that we are doing this daily, and that people can look to us hopefully for a little escapism and maybe some information and just a good time.
Yeah, I'm not looking to go to war with Tory Lanez over Quarantine Radio. It's not like a hill I'm ready to die on.
Just making sure you guys getting your flowers, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
No problem. Just to kick this off, again, this has been a question that it's not only personal for me, but it's been personal with every type of person I've been speaking with that is a creative of some sorts. Did you ever have that moment of doubt when you started realizing that, wow, this is really impacting what we do on a daily basis with all of our creative efforts?
Yeah, I think that we noticed that the coronavirus was affecting what we were doing on a weekly basis. You know, I think that we saw the news start coming in. And then as soon as we started seeing the possibility that people who have been flying in from LA might not want to take those trips.
Or even that we wouldn't want to have people come over to our house.
Yeah.
That definitely had a big effect on us. And we immediately pivoted. I mean, I think that that's a cool thing about the lane that we operate in and the independence that we have is that you can switch and you can figure out a solution to things. So if there was a doubt, it was short-lived, and I think that we're both very thankful that we took the measures we had to take to get this thing going on time, early, and keep it going.
Yeah, but there hasn't been any doubts since starting it.
Yeah,
I think that once we did it, we were just like, all right, just keep going. There's nothing else we can do.
Mm-hmm. And you guys are already the type of creatives where it's daily, weekly. You guys always have something in a tuck. And just to speak on Quarantine Radio and its creation, I honestly compared it to just that aha moment when you go through the beginning of this where it's like, all right, freak, we need to, like you said, pivot and we need to readjust. And you guys just came up with it and it's been sticking and it's been something people are looking forward to. What made you guys decide to want to do a daily show? Because it's already a lot doing a weekly show. To make this transition now, whether it's for the meantime or permanently to do a daily show, what made you guys get into that?
We were looking at the landscape. We saw which way the winds were blowing. We knew that if I don't even want to call it the worst case scenario, but if there was a chance that people were going to be spending most of their time at home, they need content. And for us to sit back and do a once a week thing like we were doing was not going to cut it. And we knew that we had to flood the market and we had to make sure that we were a presence in people's lives every single morning or noon or night whenever they listen to it, but that we would provide something that, would fill up the empty bucket that they had. Because I know myself, I'm always waiting on my YouTube subscriptions to update. I'm always waiting on that podcast to download. And if I'm stuck there with nothing else to do, then I'm going to want more and more, and soon it will run out.
But I also think even aside from a business decision, I think that for us, it matters to break out of our apartment by making these 3 phone calls every day and to be able to talk to people who are going through this situation that literally every single person, rich, poor, old, young, American, un-American, or living elsewhere. I don't want to say un-American, but like, you know, where every single person on this earth right now is affected by this thing. And it's just like, we need to connect to those people to not feel crazy in here.
And that's such a great point, because outside of just that last point, it goes back to something I've been telling, you know, my fellow teammates, you know, on Foresight and just other friends of mine that are creatives. It's as crazy as this situation is, as unfortunate as it is, you know, and I know this can annoy people. I'm definitely that guy that tries to find a realistic positive out of everything. And the one thing I said is, hey guys, as content creators, there's going to be no greater time, God forbid, where people are going to want to consume content. And
yes and no, because it's an interesting thing. I've been reading all these stats about how music consumption first in Italy and then over here has gone way down. And then also podcast numbers have also gone way down because nobody's commuting anywhere and nobody has that real structure to their day. But because we provide a sense of regularity and normalcy in a very unnormal world right now, I think that's why our podcast has been doing so well. But it is still a very dicey ground. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of people who are putting out new content. There's a lot of people who have not been able to put out new content because of the coronavirus and not being able to go into work and stuff. But I think we're still figuring out if people want more just for the sake of having more.
I think just like in any other market, you have to figure out what the people want and make it work for them. You know, I think we can only speak to our experience, which is that, like, you try some things, you try some other things, hopefully some of it'll work, and you go with what works, or you push through in a smart way. And I think that we've done both.
Yeah, I think if we were having the conversations that we had been having, it might not have been performing as well as the stuff that we're doing now, which is more speaking to the situation at hand.
And then for those people who are looking for more of an escape, again, I think we're lucky to have this, but we have a 307 episode catalog that people can revisit. So we're starting to bring those and point those out as well for people who are looking for, you know, something that's not necessarily here today in this world.
I'm actually happy you brought up that last point, Jeff, because there are going to be creatives out there, right? And everybody's at their own stage of this, right? You guys are at that stage. I'm at this stage, and others are wherever they are. What would be your biggest piece of advice that you would give to somebody during these times who are having a conversation like we're having, which is, hey, do you, based off reading the market and based off how you really feel about your content, do you want to have more of a presence than ever, or do you continue to read it out until you make the next move, or do you fall back? Because I'm really happy you made that point, because this is going to be a greater point that all of us need to just keep in mind.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing as what's happening with a lot of artists who, some are putting their music out now because there's a very open landscape, and there are some artists who are pushing their shit back because it doesn't ring off the same way that feels right. So it's like, if your content is right for the moment, then you should put it out and you should double down on that. If it's not right for the moment and you feel like, I need to put it out in a world where things are more normal, where people can go outside, where people can, you know, listen to this while they're commuting to work, or even just driving to the park, or literally anywhere, to the grocery store, literally going outside, because Eric and I haven't been outside in like 8 days or something crazy.
Jeez.
But like, you know, I think that's important. It's like, you have to think of the context in which you put your product out there.
Yeah. So you're gonna hear less turn up music. You're gonna hear less upbeat and party music, and you're probably gonna get stuff that speaks to the times that we are living in right now more than you would have before.
Yeah. Although I did see that Drake is putting up a more like upbeat sort of record. So I mean,
coming.
Like you never know if, like, I might just be talking bullshit right now. Like I don't. Well, nobody knows anything.
Yeah, but I think it's also not. It's not one thing or another. It's a bunch of gray in the middle. You know, you can still have Drake, and people are going to go on TikTok, like you're saying, and people are going to enjoy themselves, and everyone's going to feel a part of something and dance. But you're also going to have the people who are like, hey, I'm not feeling great. this is the reality of my days,
Mhm.
and I want to express that. And people are like, I can relate to that as well.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I think that's one of the best powers that at the end of the day comes down to just creatively, just, if you're somebody that's open-minded and you're really keeping everything into consideration, it will ultimately fuel you. It's, and again, it's just great just having just this back and forth because, me personally, just doing a lot of stuff on a daily basis with the sports writing, I'm used to, hey, I have to cook up on a daily basis, or I want to just keep my presence out there. So it's always fun hearing that. I don't want to say completely opposite side, but just different sides to it. That's like, hey, young fella, like, keep this into consideration. At the end of the day, we just all getting smarter over here, which is what I love.
Have
yeah,
to.
I mean, trying to,
Mm-hmm. And again, since we had you guys on episode 70, January 2019, we even had the chance to run into each other at Guapdad 4000's listening party.
Yep.
That was
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Again, it's just always great seeing you guys just have the progression that you guys have had, and it's just a point where it's like bigger guest, new look, new content, just new everything here. And I also think too, in all seriousness, you guys are getting to the point of your careers, and my honest and humble opinion, where I think people are honestly starting to give you your flowers, especially when they really look at you guys like, yo, these cats are damn near or really about a decade into the game, and they've been doing this and that. And it's not just, oh, these were the two white guys that did an album or did the book or whatever with Bun B. It's like, yo, these guys are cultural figures. And that guy who I spoke with earlier that called you guys legends, and he was like, salute, was Carl Lamarre from Billboard. Billboard's hip-hop editor.
That's
Such
our
a good
guy. He's a great dude.
Yeah, he was like, oh, you're speaking with the legends right there.
I think that
and by the way, Carl's a legend himself.
He is. And thank you very much. It's a weird thing because, we live in our bodies, right? We see out of our eyes, and it's like, yeah, what are we doing? We do this, we're continuing to put out content, whatever. From someone else's perspective, they see, our career in a different way. And it's very, it's really dope to hear people's thoughts and look at our legacy and look at what we've built from their eyes. It's really flattering.
Yeah, it's just something where it's just, again, even as somebody who just tunes in and sees, again, we're often reminded of the people who we follow and we check out. Like, it's like with artists, right? There's artists who we've been, whether it's a Hove or whoever, that you go back and look and you go, damn, like, they've been out here for this long, or I've been rocking with them for this long, and wow, they did this and they did that. And I think it's to the point where I've seen it on the timeline when you guys have interacted with fans, and and I really appreciate the fact that, in all seriousness, that you guys have been more and more just looking back at your journey and really just talking your stuff, man. Because it's like, yo, y'all deserve that, right? Like, for real,
Thank
like,
you.
Talk that stuff, bro. Like, y'all put in more than the 10,000 hours.
Well, we had a fantastic conversation with Brandon Jenkins.
Shout out to Jinx.
Back in December, and that episode was unlike our normal arc that we because we've had him on the podcast a number of times, but to be able to sit down and be like, hey, let's give ourselves some flowers too, because we're allowed to celebrate what we've built as well. That was a very refreshing conversation and a nice turn for what can be like monotonous or regular or predictable, So it was nice to sit down and be like, yo, like, yeah, I did some cool stuff this year, and I'm glad that I can acknowledge that.
How have you guys, Jeff in particular, starting this off, how have you guys been able to balance out having perspective of what has been done, especially over the last year, versus still keeping it in perspective of what you guys still need to do?
Oh, I think that you're talking to two guys who are very humble, and I think that we've always kept in mind how people will call us like legend, but then the person next to that person doesn't know who we are. There's a lot of work to be done. We have a lot of plans that we haven't been able to afford to do. There's a lot that we've done on our own. I think that we're looking forward to a time when there's a little bit more backing under us, and I think that there's sometimes it feels like you're on step 1. Sometimes it feels like you're on step 1,000 and you're only getting credit for being at step 50. Like it never, you can never feel comfortable even when you do things that like resonate with like, the people that you normally resonate with. You have to break out of that and you have to get bigger and bigger and more consistent. And, there's, I think that Eric and I, and especially me, I question everything on a day-to-day basis. So, all that to say, I don't know.
I hear you on that. That's fair. That's very fair. Before we wrap up, just looking at the landscape, IG Live is at an all-time high. Yeah. Again, we spoke about the fact artists are trying to figure out what to do with the music, but it seems like more than ever, there is a greater embrace of social media and making yourself present. Artists showing off more of their personalities, the personalities being personalities, and much more. How do you feel about that?
I love it. I think now's the time for people to, speak their voice. It's tough being indoors. It's tough being by yourself. Check in on all your friends who live on their own. I think that, in today's day and age, like, Jeff and I live together because it's cheaper like that, right? Like, but we've developed something where, we work well together, we live together. And in these times right now, I got to say, it is nice to have, a roommate here to pick me up, or I pick him up, or we can just, laugh together, check in on all your people who are living living on their own and by themselves. But on that point, people who are by themselves want to get their voices out there too. And maybe the only way to communicate on a bigger level is to get on Instagram Live and go to their 10 friends or 20 friends or 100,000 friends or 1 million friends, whatever it is. And to be seen, to be heard is really essential right now. And I think it's an amazing tool that maybe seemed like a throwaway only a couple of years ago. And maybe people thought it was like a nuisance that it, pops up at the top of your screen or whatever it is.
Accidentally click on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always hopping in people's lives and I'm the only one there. And then I have to
but now it's an essential tool. Yeah. And I think it's really, really awesome, not only for people who want to speak out, but also people who want to watch and enjoy and be part of a community like that, the club quarantine with D Nice, or if you're part of something like the battles, like we've been seeing. I think that's super exciting that people can comment and see other people commenting and, whatever it is, to connect outside your window, to connect outside your door while still staying inside is super, super important.
I think that IG Live and everything is very important. I do think that you don't have to put everything out on the internet just because it's there. Yeah. I think a lot of people put things on the internet and to larger groups of people to make themselves feel better. And I think that we're going to see that especially now. But I wish that a lot of people just talk to their friends. I think that it's okay to have some mystery on the internet. Like, you don't have to put everything out there.
I've been living by that. I've been living by that over the last year, just trying to change those habits, and it's been working. Hey, fellas, thank you so much, man, for coming on the show. Seriously, it means so much to me and my team,
thank you.
Man.
All love. Listen, thank you very much. We appreciate you putting the content out, checking in on us. We appreciate your positive attitude. Believe me, in these times, it's very, very much appreciated. And listen, we'll keep doing our job. You keep doing yours, and we'll get through this day by day, right?
Absolutely. That sounds like a plan. Folks, thank you once again for tuning in to a new episode of Foresight Daily. This is Arden signing off. See you guys.